So yeah, welcome to the team call, and hopefully today I'm going to be sharing some information which is just either going to be a refresher for you on what you've already seen, or it's going to be something completely new for you, which is certainly a strategy that I have been adopting over the past probably 10 days. And it has been enormously successful with kind of building connections, actually really connecting with my tribe, and really successfully getting girls to complete the link in my bio, complete coach applications without promotion, and then getting them on board as new coaches, and having some really great one-on-one conversations, kind of prospect calls, which means that, I'm really building proper relationships with these people. And I think, with the reliance on Captivate and Cleaner, that was probably never going to work for us, right? But I know a lot of you guys have watched the coach call by the coach called Jace, in our team page, which I posted probably about 10 days ago. And I have been adopting everything that she's kind of been putting into play for the past 10 days. And it's just become, part of what I do day to day. Like, hopefully all of you guys on the call are using the business activity tracker. I'm not going to go through that today, but if you're not, please start there. And if you're like a newer coach, it's a great place to start, if you haven't watched the Getting Started Right call. But this is really something that needs to be kind of slotted in there. And honestly, I promise you, it's going to revolutionize your business, building connections, actually the number of conversations you're having, the number of invites you're then able to send. And really from there, you're going to start to snowball through your business. And this honestly was always kind of a struggle of mine. I know in this team we promote posts, which is great. But I am a strong believer of the fact that needs to be something that we don't rely on solely. And also I've seen through the passage of time that actually the girls that come on board into our team through genuine connection, not through a promoted post, are actually a lot of the time my tribe, and I'm creating kind of really strong connections with them. So with that being said, I wanted to cover off some of the key things that I've learned from Jace's call over the past 10 days that hopefully you guys can implement. It's going to be a really effective use of your time, whether or not you work this part-time, you've got 2 hours a day, or you're kind of moving towards doing this full time. It should be something that you can all implement. So I'm just going to kind of start from the top and then really kind of work down how that process is working for me and the kinds of conversations that I'm having that are proving really, really productive. So to start with, if you've watched Jace's call, she talks about the fact that you want to be going in to an account that perhaps you resonate with, is your kind of tribe. It might be it's another influencer, not Beachbody. I will hasten to add, that's not kind of a road that we want to be going down. For me, like, I'll be honest, I go to Alice Living's page a lot of the time. Like, she's a PT in central London. She's highly successful and she's probably a little bit younger than me, but she's my kind of tribe from that perspective. And so the first thing you want to do is go into that account and write some genuine comments, like their stuff, so that when you then go into their following, the people who are looking at how you've got a connection with this person can see that you're commenting on that post, which is really, really important. So that's number one. And then you're going to go into that person's followers list, and you're just going to look for perhaps 1 or 2 girls that, again, kind of look like your kind of tribe. You might want to go into their page, again, put a couple of comments and likes, and then literally go into that person's page and follow through 50 to 100. I know some of us have got newer accounts, so we want to be really careful with like following 100. And I would say females, but again, it depends. Like, you may be trying to attract male coaches as well, and that's absolutely fine. I follow 100 people. Now, in Jace's call, she says, then 2 hours later, unfollow those people. Now, I'm not doing that. And I'll tell you why I'm not doing that. Because I have people come to follow me. And when they follow me, I look at their page. I thank them for following me back. And I try to relate to something on their page. So it might be, hey, I don't know, Kelly, thanks so much for the follow back. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, exactly, Jojo. Are you on a fitness journey too? Or like, your dog's so cute. How long have you been on your fitness journey? Or for me, like, I tend to attract like other mindset coaches. That's something that I'm really realizing as I'm kind of building and developing my brand, which is based around kind of my IGTVs and stuff and the mindset piece. How long have you been a lifestyle coach? Or, I love the content on you, whatever it might be. But what you don't want to do is go and follow 100 people, right? And then start these conversations, because genuinely, like, I know a lot of the time some of the coaches say to me, I don't understand how to build connections. Like, I don't know who to connect with. Well, the people who are following you or following you back are absolutely people you should be starting conversations with, because clearly they've gone to your page, they've looked at it, and they've followed you. Whether or not you followed them first, they are genuinely interested in your content, and you can make that assumption. And if we're going in literally like an hour and a half later, and we're literally unfollowing them immediately, then, and this happened to me, like, it was trial and error. I had people saying, oh, well, great, thanks so much for that, but you've just unfollowed me. And I was like, oh, that's really, really icky. It was just horrible. Yeah, I'm just reading these comments. Yeah. Yes. So wait till the next day, Jojo. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm doing. Or even like a couple of days. So that's kind of the strategy that I'm adopting. And it's creating the ability to create massive connections. So that then for me goes into my Streak, which I know most of us have Streak. If you don't, please download Streak, or a tracking system that you've got on your computer. I cannot tell you how much I strongly stand by the opinion and fact that if you don't have an online tracking system, you do not have a business, because you've got pen and paper, and we all know that gets messy. So yeah, Jojo hasn't unfollowed this week. Yeah, and I mean, I think it just depends on your workflow and stuff. Like, it, to be honest, even for me, it doesn't happen every single day that way. But you are then going to put those people who followed you back into, well, this is certainly what I do, so I'm sharing it. They go into my tracking in system as need to invite. Okay, so they all go in on the day that they followed me back, that I've started a connection. If I'm starting conversations, great. If they haven't replied to me, they still go on the need to invite column, which is the first column in my Streak. Okay, and then I am doing what Jace is saying. So then I'm going into my, where you've got all the posts that come up, just people who, you know, they appear on your feed. So I like more than 25, honestly. I like more than 25 posts. But again, I think it depends on your account. Like, you don't want to send yourself a block for doing 50 likes. But I tend to go through, and again, as Jace said, if you've watched the call, you want to try and show you that you're sociable. So you're actually genuinely liking the people's stuff that's come on your feed as kind of recommended for you to look at, right? And I think that really helps the algorithm. It's really been helping me so much with just like genuine followbacks, but then new followers who I haven't even followed. I really noticed that. And so then I'm going in to invite them. I'm just reading these comments. I do more and skip. Yeah, I mean, I'm not skipping promoted posts. I'm still getting some great girls through that. But I think the promoted posts, just whilst you're on that, Kelly, I'll just say really quickly that the traction with them has dropped. And it doesn't mean they're not useful, but I think the general feedback is that the traction on them has dropped. And so therefore, this is going to be crucial, guys. You mean... Oh, yes, you don't go and like other people's promoted posts. Yeah, because that comes up in your feed. So yeah, so from there, I then invite them. And I honestly, because I'm getting such a funnel of people into my Streak, I am going from need to invite to invited. Now, I'm not having the time, honestly, to go back into the invited column, i.e. if they don't reply to my invite, unless I run out of time any day on my follow-ups, I'm not being able to go back to that section, just because purely I don't have enough hours in the day. And my Streak funnel is such that I've got such an established business over the period of kind of 16, 17 months that I've got over 100 people to follow up with on any day anyway. So I'm not saying that's what you should be doing, particularly if you're kind of newer coaches, you have a smaller Streak funnel, you want to be going in, whether or not they've replied to that invite, following up a week later to see if they're interested. But a lot of the time what I'm finding is that I am getting responses. They're like, what is it? And so I'm voice clipping them. When they're asking me what it is, I am voice clipping them. And I can't tell you, like, I've started to do this more and more over the past couple of months, and it's really revolutionizing my business because I am building connections. People can see I'm not just someone copying and pasting a message, and they can hear that in the tone of my voice. And yes, I'll be honest, it's more tiring to use, you know, your voice, as Claire said last week. You don't want to be voice clipping if you're feeling down in the dumps and you can't get on your high energy. It's going to be better to write a message. But what I found is that the number of follow-ups I'm able to do is about the same. It's more tiring, but I'm building more genuine connections. The more you practice the voice clips, guys, if you're going to go down that route, which I strongly recommend, but obviously it's your business at the end of the day, the more you're going to find people are actually responding to you. And so then I'm sending my coach invite, which is, hey, I've been looking at your page. I think you'd be really great as a wellness influencer. If I sent you more information, would you like to learn more? And I'm happy to share that script at the end of the call. If anyone wants it, please just pop that in the comments. I'll just share it anyway. And from there, the way that my system is working is that I will not let anybody see a sneak peek unless they have filled out the link in my bio. And I know this is what Keith Callahan does. This is what the top coaches do, because guys, when we are the expert in our business, we need to be the ones maintaining control, okay? And we need people to respect that. And I learned this the hard way. Like, if people say, yeah, great, send me the videos, and you just like ping them on through, or you add them into a sneak peek, they're really not having to do anything. And it's that kind of reciprocity thing. You want them to give you something, you give them something back. What's the app called? Yes, it's called Streak. It's Google Streak. It's in Gmail. You can speak to Jessica, you can speak to whoever your coach is, because they will likely use it. But it's not an app. So that's how I do that. And then once they filled the link in my bio, and I might have to follow up with them a couple of the times, but once they've gone from invited and they've responded, I put them into a new column, because I don't want the need to invite, or the invited column, sorry, to kind of get a little bit lost, because those are the ones that typically I don't have time to follow up with personally. So once I get a response and they're interested to learn more, they go into my Streak column, which is wants to learn more. And those people will get a follow up because they've said they want to learn more. I'm going to follow up with them whether or not they fill out the link in my bio. And then they are, and this is something else that I've changed, and I know Claire does this and it works really well. I have done my own personal sneak peek video, but prior to now, I have just been sending the YouTube links to our sneak peek, which if you're in our sneak peek into coaching, they're actually YouTube links in there now, guys. So you can copy and paste them into your email if you want to use them. I am then responding to that application with my email template, which a lot of you will have seen, but if you want it again, please let me know after this call and I can send it through. And I'm saying, this is a bit about me, and I'm just gonna, here's the link to the sneak peek that my success partner Claire and I did back in November. Here's video 1, explains da-da-da. Here's video 2, it explains da-da-da. And then I'm saying, I can't wait to chat to you more. Let me know as soon as you've caught up. My next mentorship start date is X, okay? And I think what's really working for me personally, aside from that Jay's call, is that I always have a deadline. I always have a mentorship start date. And that, guys, if you're trying to get people to enroll and you have no mentorship start date, you need to stop that today. That is where I get girls enrolling. And genuinely, I don't take more than 5 girls at a time for mentorship start date. But what I'm starting to see is that week on week, I have girls who are like, okay, but I can't start on this Monday, but I could start on that Monday. And I say, okay, great. I'm going to put your name down, but I need to know you're going to take that spot, because I have other girls who are unable to do this one as well. And you can imagine I'm getting people who want those spots. And that creates the sense of urgency, but it also shows that other people are doing it too. And that is matching up with my stories. So you'll see if you watch my stories, I often, like not always, but for 50% of the week for the most part, and for me it's the latter end of the week, I have visuals that say my mentorship start date is starting on X date and this is what you'll get. And that follows through. So all of the girls who have got my email, they know I'm for real. They know that I have a mentorship start date. It tallies up with the email that I've sent them. And so then when I'm saying I need to know by X date, they get it. And so then I have other girls who want to enroll kind of maybe 2 weeks later. They're still watching my stories. They're seeing that another mentorship start date is starting. And I can't tell you how much that has done for my business alone. And I just wanted to talk to you guys about that, because I think, you know, I honestly, like, I feel like people must be bored shitless of me posting that. But it works. And the thing is that I'm not here to impress everyone. I'm not here to have everyone looking at my stories, loving what I'm putting out there. I'm there to connect with the girls who want to do this with us. And that is the number of times they see those visuals. Often those girls will probably need to see those visuals from me 8 or 9 times before they decide to enroll. And I'm noticing that the momentum is consistent. I'm consistently enrolling coaches into the team because they're consistently seeing that. They're not seeing that I post about the coach opportunity 1 week and that I don't post it again for another 3 weeks. Because that's not, if I saw that, I'd be like, okay, well, that's not it. I don't know, like, I'd probably trust it less. So I wanted to share that because I kind of haven't really mentioned it. And then, you know, if we've got, oh, hold on 1 second, Christine. Are you still starting your mentorship weekly with a Facebook group chat? Yes, we literally just have pods, Facebook pods, yeah. And Sometimes they go well, sometimes they don't. Again, it just, it depends. So this week we did one, and people have been a bit too shy, but yes. And then what I try to do with that being said, Christine, is I try to then share that visual. So people who haven't got enrolled on that can see that I've got this group. I've shared the visual for that. And again, it's all tallying up. I'm sharing my excitement about the mentorship starting, and I'm talking about, the getting started right cool and things like that. And it doesn't matter if you're not leading it, just purely sharing that. It really just, and it's there. I peppercorn the rest of my life in, and it's like a definitive strategy that is it's a bit like when Keith Callahan says, put this stuff on autopilot, and that stuff is kind of on autopilot for me now. Yes, you can, of course, Lulu, you can start posting for other coaches. Speak to Sarah afterwards and she'll explain how. And of course, then I start to show that the spots are filling, okay? And again, if you're newer or you're not enrolling so many coaches, if you want my visuals or you want anyone's visuals, just ask them. The visuals I produce, I'm happy to share. I would always say if you're enrolling your own coaches and you've got quite a good number, then do your own visuals. The quicker you take that kind of lead from the front mentality, the quicker people are going to see you as that leader and they're going to want to be a part of your team. So take it on you. You are your own boss for the most part. But obviously, if you're new, then definitely, I'm more than happy to share that stuff. Yes, absolutely. That's okay, Natalie. Absolutely. And then coming back to Jace, so the unfollow, as Jojo was just saying, I'm not even strategically unfollowing the people who I've followed, right? The thing that blew my mind was when Jace was doing that call, if you watched it, and one of the coaches was like, oh, Jace, have you seen the new feature on Instagram where you can go into your followers and you can see, hold on, I can't even remember what it said. I'm just going to do it now. Following. And then you can get up and there's at the top, if you go into your Instagram now, guys, here, it says default, and you can click the two arrows and then it says sort by latest or earlier. So you can sort your followers by how early you followed them or by how late. And so what I'm honestly doing is I'm going into the people that I've followed the earliest, and I'm looking at those, and I'm looking at who am I actually having conversations with. If I'm not having conversations with them and I haven't ever really had a conversation, then I'm honestly unfollowing them, because what's the point? I don't love the unfollowing the latest ones, unless of course you get loads of people following you back and you look at their profiles and you're like, they're 14 or they're just not my tribe, then you're going to unfollow them, right? But my view is we want this to kind of be a little bit more natural. So taking the time, but generally I'll unfollow about 100 people a day. But of course, if you're working full time, you might do this, as Jay said. I think she does it 2 or 3 times a week, but I'm really focusing on building my following and eyes on my page at the moment. And what I can say, that's creative IG, but I think it works for either, Marty. It's if you go into who you're following, and then at the top it will say I don't know if you can see that, earliest or latest. Don't know if you can see that. But what I'm finding is that the number of invites, I was never a big inviter, honestly. And I was all these coaches doing all these 60 invites a day. I was how? I don't understand. They're not following anyone. Even Kate Schultz will say, I go and I comment on people's stuff, but I never follow them. And I still honestly don't understand how she invites 60 people a day. If she's not following people, she's not getting them to follow her back. Maybe she's just got loads of people watching her stories and she's inviting from there, probably. But what I've noticed is that because these people are following me back, and I have about 30 invites a day to do, which is honestly changing everything for me. And also I am becoming way more particular about ensuring that every day, without negotiation, I go into who's watching my stories and I try and go through every single person. And honestly, guys, if you're saying I don't know how to build my connections, I don't know how to do it. If you're going into those story watchers and you're engaging with them, whether or not they're someone you've already had a conversation with or not, you are going to have a much bigger kind of funnel of people to connect with. And obviously the people watching your stories, I know I had a conversation with a coach the other day, and she said, oh, I don't start conversations with people watching my stories. And I don't blame her. She probably didn't realize that the people watching your stories are almost more important than the people liking your post, because the people liking your post, remember, you're probably just on their algorithm, so they're appearing in your feed, but the people watching your stories are really genuinely interested in what you're doing. And if they're consistently watching them over and over again, they are someone who is going to come on board sooner or later, in my opinion. So how to do that, just quickly, I have covered this on another call, but I'll cover it since I'm here. You want to invite membership, please? Oh, that's so funny. It'll be really good to see what they say. But yeah, so that, just so you know, like I to start with, I was like, well, how do I start talking to the story watchers? And this was a call that was on a Diamond Mastermind. It was, I can't remember which Canadian coach it was, but she shared how she starts the connection. And she always, like with the stories, she'll say like, hey, thank you so much for watching my stories. I really appreciate your support. And that to me, I was like, well, that's really over the top. They're just watching my stories. But honestly, it works so well because you're just thanking them instead of saying like, I think Kate Schultz says like, oh, I've seen you peeping my stories or like creeping on. And I just think that's kind of asking for trouble because people are going to be like, well, that's a bit aggressive, in my opinion. Obviously each their own. But when you say that, kind of softens it, and then you can just ask them a bit about them. And it's a great way to start a connection. Again, if they don't, yeah, exactly. And then if they don't reply, they still go on my need to invite list. So I'm finding people for my need to invite list from people who are following me, people who are watching my stories, and then every single day again, like I genuinely believe you've probably got 100 connections in a day doing this, no matter what the size of your account. I'm going through every single person that's liking my stuff. I'm liking their stuff back. I'm looking at if we've had a conversation before. If we have and they've been in the sneak peek and they're liking stuff and I haven't heard from them in a while, I'll connect with them again. Or it's a new person liking my stuff. Again, I'll connect to them and say, thank you so much for liking my post. I really appreciate the support. And then linking it back to something on their page. And that again is just creating that funnel of invites. So guys, I genuinely think you should probably have about 30 people a day that you can invite fresh with this strategy. And that's really it. And then the only other thing I will just go on to say is that I think I must have honestly, subliminally, or like without noticing, subconsciously stopped saying to people, like, if you want to hop on a call to talk about what you've just learned about in the informational videos, just let me know. I'm more than happy to, do that so we can chat in further detail and you can see if it's the right fit, which is something that Romy from Roden and Fields in her book Get Over Your Down South says. And I think I'd stop saying it because honestly this week I must have had about 10 prospect calls and they're converting, and I'm getting on the call, and I'm not just getting on a phone call, which is what I always did because I was like, I don't want to be on a video. I'm getting on a video call. There is no excuse. We have Instagram. We can do video chat in the messaging. People are connecting with me. They're seeing that I'm real. They're seeing that I'm actually wanting to understand why they want to do it, what it means for them. And then when it comes to sending the share a car after I've done the call, 9 times out of 10, it's converting. And honestly, it's been a game changer. It's been such a game changer. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that because it's really what we should be doing, right? Like we want to be authentically connecting with people, and there's so many different ways to do this, right? And I think that's where it can get a bit cloudy for us as coaches, because what works for me might not work for you. And there's so many different coaches doing different things. But all I can say is that since I've adopted this exact strategy for the past 10 days, it's almost making my job super easy. And I'm not saying it's super easy to send that number of connections in a day. And it might be that you're doing 50% that given the hours that you have. But I'm getting on like Zoom call power hours with my girls. Like I'll share the link more in the team page. And what I'm really noticing is that actually this stuff takes max 2 hours. It takes max 2 hours. It probably takes an hour. And that's the point. It's like, if you're like, I don't have time, I call you out and I suggest and suspect that you're not being super focused with your time. So call yourself out. Are you focusing on that stuff when you're doing it? Or are you going into Facebook when you get a notification? Are you checking your messenger as soon as the message pops up? Because I was amazed when I was doing those power hours, even for myself with my girls. I was like, whoa, it's an hour and a half has passed and I've connected with like over 80 people. So yeah, you want to make sure it's public. Otherwise people can't see your stories, and that's going to be really hard to drive more people into your page. And that's it really. So quite short, quite a lot of information. Does anyone, please unmute yourself. If you've got any questions or comments, please comment, because that was a lot to cover, and I'm sure there are questions, and I'm sure if one of you has the question, other people will do. You know, to me it's clear because I do it, and it might not be so clear to you guys, so please shout. And who would like to see more Power Hour links in the team page? Just comment or unmute yourself. Yeah. So what I'll do is, as I'm working, I'm just going to share them when I'm around. Of course, that's going to work sometimes for you guys in the States and Canada, sometimes not. Like, I generally work in the evening as well. So hopefully that's going to work well for you. And obviously, like, I'm sure Claire will do that too. Yeah. And Claire created the most incredible bat, and I'm so sorry I haven't actually mentioned it. She spent ages doing that. I looked at it and I was like, geez, this girl has spent a long time doing that for you guys. So please make sure you utilize it, because it literally breaks down everything that I've just covered. And it's all kind of written down. So if you're someone that doesn't like memorize stuff when you hear it from me, then go back and hopefully when you look at Claire's bat, it's all going to make a lot more sense. Yeah, and Claire used Jace's call to make it, so it's absolutely perfect. And for Claire's very good at putting the step by step together. The sound's chipping in and out, is it? Claire created a business activity tracker based on Jace's call, which is exactly what I've covered in verbal today. So she's put it in the files section in our team page. And it literally is breaking down Jace's strategy. Like, she's done the whole thing, which is amazing. So yeah, and we'll post more links to do Power Hours. Like, I think, you know, I've had a few coaches saying, I don't know what Power Hour looks like. And I think, oh no, we really need to have you guys knowing what that looks like. So, you know, because that's going to make or break your business. It's great if you're doing a workout, guys. It's great if you're having a shake, and it's great if you're posting. But if you're not doing all of this stuff, you haven't got a business. You're not going to enroll anyone, honestly. Remind me, when do you log them in your streak? I log people in my streak as soon as they follow me back, and I've sent a message to thank them for following me. Or as soon as I send someone a message, a new person, it gets logged in my streak. And as soon as they've been invited, it goes to invited. Yeah. So hopefully that's helpful. And do take a look at Claire's bat. I know it's absolutely stunning, and is great if you could laminate it, wipe it clean, so that you can do it day by day. But yeah, she's great at actually producing the resources. I'm better at chatting through processes. So do I do that manually, put them into Streak? Yes. But I don't know if you have Streak, Lulu, so it's probably going to be really hard to understand how that looks, but it takes 2 seconds. You just put that ID handle in and the date, and that's it, really. So yeah, did anyone want to ask anything before I close out this call? Let's do a boomerang for sure. If we can have more people on the camera, that would be amazing. Good. Well, I'm glad it was helpful. And with me doing the chatting and Claire's bat, I think you should have it covered, guys. So don't worry about your hair being a mess. No one will see. It's literally just a boomerang. No one cares. It's Sunday. Don't be shy. Okay. I'm just going to have to turn my light ring off because it's so light, so bright. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Thank you, guys. And if you've got any questions after this, you want to message me separately, please do, or Claire. But the bat's in the team page. Nice to see you guys. Happy Sunday. Take care. My pleasure. Bye, guys.